Hi, my name is Alex, and today I'll be giving a speech on some of the ways that the oil industry tries to shape public perceptions. And so, in any big industry, it's hard to tell the difference between true intentions and PR. I know one example, Apple promotes using recycled aluminum in their products, but has also been alleged to slow down old devices, which would require people buying new ones and creating more electronic waste. And just like how smartphones are a big part of our lives, more so, oil companies are an integral part of our lives and livelihood. And so it's especially important that we know the difference between PR and true intentions, as I said. And as of late, there have been lots of evidence coming out that show very transparently the tactics that they use through sting operations and the revealing of internal documents. And so, in the speech, I'll be showing the ways that they shape our perceptions, attempt to, with three main points. First being their denial of science and their withholding of it. Second, ingenuine PR campaigns. And third, pro-petroleum school curriculums. And so, in that first, coming from the Scientific American, it was found that in the 70s and 80s, Exxon employed top-level scientists in heavily funded research, and Exxon actually knew about climate change as early as 1977. And back then, their senior scientist told them that fossil fuels were most likely the cause of climate change, and even predicted the 2 to 3 degrees that would come from a doubling in CO2 in the atmosphere. And with this in mind, an example of their denial in 1988, NASA scientist mentioned in a congressional hearing that climate change was likely man-made, to which Exxon claimed the science to be controversial, despite their own scientists' findings. And eventually, Exxon helped create the Global Climate Coalition, which actually successfully prevented the U.S. from signing the Kyoto Protocol, which would limit emissions. And that was the goal of the organization, was to promote climate denial. And aside from just old documents and former scientists and employees coming out, there's actually been some recent employees that have provided insight to practices. In a sting done by Greenpeace, a current Exxon lobbyist talked to an investigator that he thought was an investor and unknowingly revealed some of the company's innermost practices. So, according to The Guardian, when asked about Exxon's public support of a carbon tax, Exxon lobbyist Keith McCoy stated, quotes, "Nobody is going to propose a carbon tax on all Americans." And the cynical side of me says, yeah, we kind of know that, but it gives us a talking point that we can say, well, what is ExxonMobil for? Well, for a carbon tax. And later reiterates, carbon tax is not going to happen. In addition to this, Keith McCoy also admitted that ExxonMobil aggressively fought science and actually joined what's called shadow groups, which are third parties that Exxon operated through to promote climate denial, to which Keith McCoy said, well, there's nothing illegal about it, but they were just looking out for their investments and their shareholders. And so these examples show that they're very aware of what they're doing. Their climate conscious PR that they're promoting is not really a priority. It's more so a marketing strategy veiled over the less palatable loyalty to monetary gain. And so far it seems the industry tends to be pretty secretive in their methods, but there's actually some pretty transparent ones as well, coming into my third point. And this is coming from the organization called Informing the Anthropocene. And from this I learned that the Oklahoma Energy Resources Board, which is a nonprofit funded by the oil industry, actually has its very own school curriculum. And teachers who get trained in this curriculum get offered science projects, funding for field trips related to oil, and there's a lot of underfunding of schools in Oklahoma, and it seems that they've really capitalized on this because the Energy Resources Board has made its oil-based curriculum. It's gotten into 98% of the state's school district, and one of the parts of the curriculum is a book called Petro Pete's Big Bad Dream, in which Petro Pete has a nightmare in which petroleum is no longer a part of the world. And he goes to school, walks to school because his bus doesn't have tires, nor does his bike. He's in his pajamas because his, I'm assuming, polyester clothes are no more. And in class they talk about oil derricks and drilling methods. And when he wakes up, he sees his plastic toothbrush and everything else in his home and is happy it was all a dream. And in addition to this, if kids enter a contest, a Facebook contest, they can actually win and get 2 state senators and a Petro Pete mascot to come to their school and read that book to them. And as part of the curriculum in that visit, the kids are asked what the moral of the story is in that book, and based just on the story, being a big bad dream, it seems that the moral of the story is that a world without petroleum is a bad world, and that a world with petroleum, as seen by Pete's happiness, awaking to his possessions, is a good and happy world. And so this is the sort of thing that it's trying to push. And so whether it be old documents, stage interviews, or publicly available school curriculum, there's more and more evidence coming out to cue us on how the oil industry attempts to influence us. And in this speech, I hope to have provided transparency in some of these tools of influence so that your perceptions can be made more of your own. Thank you.